Hey, my name's Jedith, and in this video we'll be looking at my top 5 ways that you can improve your gameplay in World of Warcraft. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced player, these tips will help you get ahead of the game. If you're an experienced player, some of these might sound like they're common sense. But really ask yourself, are you actually doing these things in your day-to-day gameplay? Everyone has room to grow and improve, so get out your notepads and make sure to stay to the very end of the video for a special bonus tip that I think will blow your minds. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, here is tip number 1. Adjust your keybinds and get an MMO mouse. So one of the most important things you can do to improve your gameplay is to adjust your keybinds. If you're still clicking abilities like it's 2004, then you are seriously holding yourself back.
Maybe 11, 12.
He's clicking his abilities.
I had no idea what I needed to be doing in order to get on.
What?
The most economical keybinds are the ones closest to your left hand, assuming you use WASD to move, which you should be. Those close keybinds would be keys like Q, E, R, F, and C, as well as 1 through 5. Those are the keys you want to have your most frequently used abilities set to. You should also use modifier keys like Shift, Control, and Alt to create more keybinds without having to reach too far. For example, Shift plus F or Control plus W. For most people, trying to reach over to hit 6 and 9 would actually just slow you down. Ultimately, the keybinds that you settle on are going to be completely personal, and it's going to come down to things like keyboard layout and even hand size. So I strongly suggest you sit down and try to think of how you can remap your keybinds so you can perform your rotation just that little much easier. And if you want to take things to the next level, you can also get an MMO mouse. This is a mouse with 12 programmable buttons on the side where your thumb rests. The most basic and simplistic way to utilize these buttons would be to bind keys 1 to 9 to them and have your whole rotation executable by your mouse hand. What I like to do personally is assign key combinations that you would never press normally, to reduce the risk of you accidentally pressing that keybind manually with your other hand. For example, you can do something like Alt plus Shift plus K, or you could assign all the F keys 1 through 12 to the mouse. You now have 12 extra hotkeys on top of your already assigned keybinds you would use with your keyboard hand. Then you would go into the game and assign whatever you want to those keybinds. I like to use the mouse buttons for consumables, utility abilities, longer cooldowns, macros, the more auxiliary things that can be hard to find binds for. You know what else you could do to improve your gameplay? Upgrade your PC. I have something super cool I want to show you guys. Check this out. I got my own line of custom PCs. Just look at this thing. Doesn't it scream Jedith? I've teamed up with Apex to create a line of 3 beautiful custom PCs to bring you the perfect World of Warcraft experience. First, there's the Initiate. Perfect for those who are just starting out and looking for something effective and affordable to game on. Have a family member who's been laughing at you for playing a boomer game like World of Warcraft, but they secretly want to play with you? This is what they need. Then we've got the Illidari. Been gaming for a while but feel like you want to take things to the next level? This PC is rocking a beefy 3060 Ti, so you better be ready for some serious gaming. Then finally, the Master. This one is exactly what you think. Top of the line on all fronts. This thing will wipe the floor with whatever potato you've been playing WoW on and show you everything you've been missing in your gaming experience. And hey, if you're looking to pick one of these up, I have a special discount code for you guys to use to get up to $250 off your order. All you have to do is click the link down in the description and then use code Jedith at checkout. Not able to pay for it all at once? No problem. Apex offers affordable and competitive financing options so you can get this PC into your gaming room as quick as possible. If you're looking to upgrade the other parts of your rig, monitor, keyboard, mouse, headset, whatever, Apex also has you covered. There's so many ways to customize these exactly to your liking, and you can add any piece of gear you might be missing. So, Demon Hunter crew, if you haven't been able to tell already, these PCs were designed specifically with you in mind. If you're looking to level up your gaming experience, or maybe even get into content creation and streaming, these PCs will set you up for success. Just remember to click the link in the description to get to my exclusive page at Apex PCs and use code Jedith at checkout for up to $250 off your entire order. Tip 2. Watch other players. Watching other players can be a great way to learn new techniques and strategies. Pay attention to what they're doing and try to analyze their decision making. You'd be surprised at how much you can learn just by watching players who are better than you. Look for streamers or YouTube videos that focus on your class or spec and try to pick up on their habits and tactics. What I like to do is look up videos of my class and spec on a specific raid boss. Then I watch closely at where they're using their cooldowns, how they're utilizing their movement, and how they're optimizing their uptime on the boss. I get that this can be kind of a weird one because where do you start? What if you don't know of any specific people to watch? All you need to do is go to YouTube and search Windwalker Monk Razageth or Holy Priest Mythic Plus. You'll always find at least a couple results to get you started. Now, if you decide to watch streamers, this can be even more productive because you can ask them questions directly. And don't be afraid to ask. Most streamers are always more than happy to answer questions, unless they just answered that question 5 seconds ago. So make sure you read the chat history and kind of monitor the chat for a few minutes before you ask your question. Tip 3. Use weak auras for reminders about trinkets and cooldowns. Weak auras is a popular add-on that can help you keep track of important information like trinkets, procs, and cooldowns. There's thousands of pre-made weak auras available online. All you have to do is go to wago.io to find them. First thing I would do if you're brand new to using weak auras is find a weak aura package specific to your class and spec. These packages go in the middle of your screen and help you keep track of your rotational abilities without having to divert your eyes down to your action bars. You can also get weak auras to track things like your trinkets, and I'll give you a personal example here. For a long time, I was using 2 trinkets that both needed to be manually activated to use. These are referred to on use compared to ones that just work on their own, referred to as passive trinkets. Between focusing on my rotation, fight mechanics, and communicating with my group, my attention to my trinket cooldowns would often go completely out the window, until I got this weak aura that shows the cooldown of both my trinkets right above my health bar. This helped me immensely in making sure I'm actually using those trinkets as often and optimally as I possibly can, which ultimately will help your gameplay, and honestly, the possibilities are endless. It's actually a really fun rabbit hole to go down. Tip 4. Use a focus interrupt macro. So before we get ahead of ourselves here, yes, you do have to interrupt casts in Mythic Plus. The most common and tragic reason groups wipe and keys go untimed is because the group fails to stop deadly casts. Interrupting enemy spellcasts is a key part of PvE. It's become even more important over the past few years as the mechanic count per trash pack has gone up and up. Using a focus interrupt macro can help make this task much easier. A focus interrupt macro allows you to quickly interrupt your target's spell without having to target them directly. So an example would be the trash pack in Ruby life pools. The priority target here is the destroyer, the big elemental mob. That's where you should be directing the majority of your damage. To make this hard on your group, there's also the Cinder Weavers casting Cinder Bolt, which definitely needs to be interrupted. So, to prevent having to untarget the destroyer and target the Weaver, interrupt the spell, and target swap back to the destroyer, you can use a macro to do all of that automatically. So first you'll need a macro to assign an enemy as your focus target. Type /macro, click new, select whatever icon you want, and then type /focus mouse over. Then click save. Now drag and drop that macro onto your bars and assign a hotkey to it. Now whenever you put your mouse cursor over an enemy and press that macro, that enemy now becomes your focus target. Next, you'll need a focus interrupt macro. Follow the same process and type the following. I'll put it on the screen, you can just copy. Replace disrupt with whatever your specific interrupt is called, and you're all set. So that macro will use your interrupt ability on whatever enemy you have set as your focus target. If you don't have a focus target, it will use that ability on whatever you just have targeted normally. Tip 5. Learn mob abilities with Mythic dungeon tools. So you've probably used the dungeon tool in-game to look at what loot a boss drops, or maybe what mechanics certain bosses have. But did you know you can look at the abilities of trash mobs in dungeons? All you need is an add-on called Mythic Dungeon Tools, or MDT for short. This add-on has a ton of amazing features, but in this video we're going to look at discovering trash mob abilities. You can swap between dungeons with the drop-down in the top left, and then mouse over the circles scattered around the map. These are the trash mobs you'll be dealing with in the dungeon, which you can then right-click on to bring up an info window. Here you can see each ability they use with a detailed tooltip on how it works. You'd be amazed at how many things are going on behind the scenes that you're just not aware of. Go through all the dungeons, or do one at a time, and see what new things you can find. Taking in all of that new knowledge will only make you a better player when you step into that dungeon and start racking up that sweet Mythic Plus score. And the bonus tip. Using WoW Analyzer. Okay, the bonus tip. So this one's going to take a little bit of prior knowledge. You can take your logs and plug them into a website called WoW Analyzer. And as you might have assumed, it analyzes your logs and tells you directly things that you can improve on in your gameplay. It can tell you things like wasted resources, buff uptimes, any failed combos you may have scuffed during a fight. For example, with Havoc Demon Hunter, it can give you a look at all of your Essence Break combos over the course of an encounter. It'll highlight whether you did it properly and what part of it you missed. Of course, all the info it gives you should be taken with a grain of salt. It might say one of your buff uptimes was low and you need to improve it, but proper usage of your rotation doesn't necessarily require improved uptime, so try to read the info with an open mind. So this is a great tool if you're not confident in digging into logs on your own, or honestly, if you're just feeling a little lazy and you want some quick and easy things that you can improve on, this will work for you. The site is slowly being updated to work for all specs, so just be forewarned, your spec might not be available just yet. And I'll leave you with one more little secret. You can actually spy in on your guildies and see how poorly they're playing too. It's fun stuff. And that's it. That's my top 5 ways that you can improve your gameplay in World of Warcraft in 2023. If you guys have any other tips for other players who might be looking in the comments, things that have worked for you, let us know down below. I hope you found some of these tips helpful, and I hope they guide you through your ways in Azeroth. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.